All right, we'll do a brief review of chapter 4. Chapter 4 is extremely important. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but it is absolutely vital and important. It should just be review, though. Once again, you should understand how to do lockout and tagout. In our class, including the remote labs, you must show me that you're locking out that circuit, so you're not going to be electrocuting yourself as you work on it. You never work on a hot circuit in this lab. Now, in the electrical technology world, there are cases where you might need to do some hot wiring, but not in this lab. Everything is locked out and turned off while we're in there making changes. So this particular chapter goes through the basics of electrical shock. Talks about what'll kill you, what won't. Tiny bit of current, relatively small voltage could kill you. So talk about some of the boundaries for that. Very important hint in the quizzes. You might run into questions about where you have too much current and voltage. It might hurt you. Talks about electrostatic discharge, which isn't so much a problem for people. It tends to blow up electronics, though. It will burn out a board on you, and then you'll have to replace your board. The book goes through all sorts of safety diagrams, of safety symbols and signs and what they mean. Very useful. Talks about guards, protect you from getting wound up around the motor. The section on lockout, tagout must be adhered to in our lab. So you read through the lockout, tagout. Very, very important. Shows you what a typical lockout, tagout kit looks like. Talks to you a little bit about NFPA 70E. Now, a lot of us have taken GTEC, our OSHA course, so you should know what NFPA, the National Fire Protection Association 70E standard for electrical safety is, and how that affects you on the job. Talks about PPE, personal protective equipment. Right. Any kind of electrical work above a certain voltage, you are going to be required to wear PPE appropriate for that voltage. And here they're showing a high volt rig. In our lab, we do not require that you wear gloves and face shields. Everything is 208 or lower. And we require safety glasses. We don't require gloves and face shield and hard hat and things like that. Eye protection only. And you see the voltage ranges you'll need different kind of gloves for, and the glove color and glove class that you'll need. So 500 volts is for the beige glove. Knee protection, other protections. It also goes through your motor circuits, how the motor is insulated. Talks about grounding properly. Talks about GFCIs. GFCI measures the current going into a outlet versus the current coming back from the outlet. And if those two are different, the GFCI will shut down that circuit, because that means the current went through something it shouldn't go through. So looking for an imbalance in the current flow. So that's a very important concept. Talks about fire safety. There should be review as well. You should understand how you use different fire extinguishers on different fires. Electrical equipment uses class C. Very important. Work permits for hazardous locations, difficult, enclosed locations. You need permits for confined spaces, for dangerous locations. The permits are based on OSHA requirements, and they're all related to your business's rules. Your business has certain rules for confined or otherwise spaces. So you got to make sure you understand what those rules are and what the permit process is. Overhead power line, another key factor. You want to make sure that if you're dealing with any kind of equipment that could get you up high, ladders, or even just a tall truck, You want to be very cognizant of how many feet away from electrical power lines you need to stay. Like I said before, if you have a high voltage power line and you get too close to it, that electricity could arc quite a distance. So you want to absolutely stay away from any high voltage electrical power lines according to the rules. So very, very important. And that is all that I'm going to go over for chapter 4.